Justin is a heavy equipment operator at a construction company. He always wears a safety vest and hard hat in case of an accident, but the biggest danger is something he can't see: air pollution. Because of the dust and fumes he comes into contact with every day, Justin's risk of deadly heart disease and lung cancer later in life is much higher than the general population. When Justin first started his apprenticeship, he noticed that it would be harder to breathe after a long day of operating diesel equipment. When he told his coworkers about it, they just told him that he'd get used to it.
I guess it's just part of the job. These guys have been doing it for years and they seem okay.
Justin and his coworkers aren't the only ones affected by air pollution. The construction process contributes to 14% of dangerous particulates and 11% of greenhouse gas emissions, which impact community health and global climate. Maggie, who lives a block away from the construction site, is concerned if it is affecting her daughter's asthma.
She just had another asthma attack after playing outside, the second time this week. I can't see much coming from the construction site, but I'm still worried that I'm missing something.
There are millions of people around the world with stories just like Justin and Maggie, who have a hard time understanding the invisible harm of air pollution. So as a team, we thought, how might we use individual data to visualize and limit the effects of air pollution on construction workers and the communities that surround them? Pulsair is an integrated health and safety system that empowers workers, companies, communities, and policymakers to manage construction air pollution. To do this, Pulsair collects worker data from a network of individual sensors, including air quality, steps, exposure, and falls, and uses this data to create customized diagnostics for each stakeholder. To clock into work, Justin removes his assigned sensor from the charging mount and snaps it into place on his hard hat. He doesn't have to think about it all day, but if he's working in a dark space, it also doubles as a rechargeable headlamp. At the end of the day, Justin clocks out by plugging a sensor into the charging mount and receives a notification on his phone with a daily summary. Justin likes being able to see an overview of his day and is comforted knowing that he has ownership of his data for medical records and insurance. Today, Justin is notified that he was exposed to abnormal levels of nitrogen dioxide, a harmful byproduct of burning diesel fuel, and reads about the dangers of NO2 and tips to reduce exposure. By getting frequent bursts of training specific to his work, Justin is more likely to implement pollution reduction practices and care about his health.
Wow, I didn't know that exhaust was so dangerous. I know I have a habit of idling equipment even when I'm not using it, so maybe that's one way I can start improving.
Pulsair is also a valuable tool for construction companies. Using sensor data, supervisors are able to locate and organize their workforce more efficiently, something that is currently difficult at a noisy, busy construction site, and are alerted of emergencies like toxin exposure and severe falls. Unlike other air monitors on the market that just detect pollution, Pulsair provides hyperlocal air quality data from the site, finds pollution sources, and offers solutions to save future time and cost. If the construction site opts in or is required by law to make their air quality data public, Maggie and the community are able to see the average AQI of the site. Maggie can scan the site's QR code and gets real-time air quality information, as well as helpful preventative and protection reminders.
It gives me peace of mind knowing when and where my daughter can play safely. I trust the company much more. They seem to really care.
As cities around the world are becoming more conscious of air quality and implementing stricter emission policies, Pulsair helps policymakers see how companies in their jurisdiction are adhering to changing regulations. They are able to learn from the success of other initiatives and can create effective legislation in their cities to limit and control construction pollution. To tackle problems as big as air pollution, we can't just collect data and expect it to change the world. That is why Pulsair makes data relatable through customized training, intelligent diagnostics, lifestyle recommendations, and policy enforcement on every level of impact. Making the invisible visible is the first step we can take to galvanize people into action and save the millions of lives lost to air pollution every year.